the debate will go on, but as I said now, unfortunately, from Newcastle's point of view, their Champions League destiny is out of their own hands going into the final group game. So, I mean, when you look at it, Danny, on paper, if it had been a fight in a boxing ring, it probably would have been stopped because PSG absolutely battered Newcastle United, especially in that second half. 72% possession to 28 possession for Newcastle. 31 shots to 5 in favour of PSG. 7 shots on target, 2 for PSG. And then that penalty was awarded that many feel should never have been awarded in the dying seconds. This was Eddie Howe post-match.
We'll look at the positive of what the players gave today. I couldn't ask any more of any individual on the pitch. I think they've totally committed to what we've asked them to do. Some massive performances from individuals and the team together. Really disappointed for them. They don't get to share that moment of success, but we're still in the competition. We're still fighting, and that could have been very different. You know, they did miss chances today. So I think we have to look at the positive, not the negative.
So, I mean, Danny, it begs the question, after you heard all the stats in favour of PSG, were Newcastle robbed or were they lucky?
Well, the stats are irrelevant to the decision. Irrelevant of whether you think they got a bit lucky or defended, manfully and made good saves and stuff. The decision itself was just awful. But it doesn't surprise you because in Europe, they do have this ridiculous interpretation of handball that basically if it hits your hand, you're done more or less. I was amazed by it because of how close it was coming off his chest.
And it was obvious, you know, that when that happens, it shouldn't be given.
Do you know what? Every weekend, every midweek now, we end up talking about decisions rather than the tactical element, which I hate. I know we have to do it, but it's tedious because they were robbed by a really, really poor decision. You could argue on the second half performance from PSG, they deserved a draw. That's fair in terms of chances, but you don't want to not. They've now not got the destiny in their own hands because of a really poor decision, and that's a shame for them. I think on some of the performances, Livramento, by the way. If Gareth Southgate needs somebody in case Shaw's not fit to play left back, he's powerful, quick, brilliant one-on-one defender. This was against Dembele as well. You know, with all that's gone on last night, people aren't talking about Livramento since he's come in the team. He's been a revelation. Against Chelsea at the weekend, he is a brilliant one-on-one defender who's great going forward as well. And I don't see a better left back other than Luke Shaw than him at the moment in the Premier League, who should be in the England squad, honestly.
Yeah, we want him too, you know that. He's one of 4 Newcastle players.
And he can play Portugal as well, isn't it?
Really? Right.
I think it's Scotland, Portugal and England.
Yeah.
I wonder what he'd choose.
Simon, it's hard to imagine how they came to that decision last night. When you consider from UEFA, this is UEFA back in April, the board recommends that UEFA should clarify that no handball offence should be called on a player if the ball is previously deflected from his own body, and in particular when the ball does not go towards a goal.
Yeah. I mean, I'd just like to go back a second. I think an away performance where you defend valiantly and the goalkeeper does his job, because goalkeepers aren't put in there to pick the ball out of the back of the net. Their job is to make saves. Peter Shilton was the reason, perhaps in some perspectives, why Nottingham Forest kicked on to win the European Cup. So with that in mind, I don't think Newcastle were riding their luck. I think they defended valiantly. PSG were playing at home with the wind behind them. I think Newcastle put out a very, very commendable away performance, which might be categorised as a smash and grab. But that's what happens in away performances when you're playing against potentially more experienced opposition.
That was their best away performance.
And I think that they would have deserved. They would have been good value for a very, very valiant and deep-seated performance of integrity and character to overcome the odds of what I thought they would do. I thought PSG would right the wrongs. I thought PSG would look at what happened to them at St James's Park and go to them and say, right, you're going to have some of this, you little minnows. And they didn't. And Newcastle were good value for a very defensively minded 1-0 win.
Jim White and Simon Jordan. Monday to Friday mornings from 10 on AM, on DAB, via the TalkSPORT app and on your smart speaker. TalkSPORT.